people were taking issue with the fact that 21 Savage had a post where he says, Atlanta, we got to do better. Put the effing guns down. And then somebody responded on Twitter, was like, spin the block twice, like it ain't nowhere to park, which is a quote from a recent record he did with Drake with Jimmy Cooks. And then
Mm.
21 Savage says, a song for entertainment is not an instruction manual for how to live your life. In real life, I give away a lot of money and I spread financial literacy to my community. Stop trying to make me one dimensional. And so, 21 Savage went on a IG Live to basically continue to defend that point and talk about the fact that what he does is entertainment and it shouldn't be taken serious. It's like the age old thing. He even said this in his spiel. Man, they're killing us with the
I got it.
spam.
I'm
You
on it.
got
Go
it.
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going.
He even went
I've
into
been
his
literally on it
spiel
for the last hour. I got you.
talking about actors and how they're not held to the same standard. Whether they get in a movie and
He's
yada
right.
yada. You know what rappers say, like we
No,
know
he's
Arnold
right about that.
Schwarzenegger. Do you agree with that statement?
Okay, so
I
there
never liked
is.
that correlation. You know why? I'm gonna be honest.
No, go ahead. No, please. I want to hear your thoughts.
I never liked that correlation because when Arnold Schwarzenegger goes to whatever talk show, late night show, David Letterman or whatever to promote the Terminator, he doesn't show up as the fucking Terminator and start jacking people up in the crowd. He shows up as Arnold Schwarzenegger to promote a movie. Now, rappers don't do that when they go out there to promote their music. They stay in full character, correct? They never sit there and say, I'm James Smith. I'm promoting this 21 Savage album, yada yada. Now, if you want to be a character through and through, fine, do that. It's cool. And I
Mhm.
also don't like the notion that people make it seem like that's the only way to make music.
There are a few things to unpack with that you just said. So, when I'm saying that he's making a point with the actor thing, I think I'm thinking about it beyond the surface. This is like, well, some of these people are heavy drug and alcohol abusers, misogynists, adulterers, wife beaters. Like, actors aren't the greatest people in the world, just like musicians aren't. Okay? There's a reason actors and musicians get along. You know? It's because they kind of understand each other's plight, each other's debauchery, each other's fuckery. And so when he's bringing up how actors get used as spokesmodels and spokespersons, he's making a valid point. You were also making a valid point in like, well, they're actors. Their job is literally to put on another character and perform. Music at times can be the same way, and I'm going to tell you exactly the problem of what's going on with some of these younger rappers. Well, you have to decide if you want to be like a musical artist who is a actual musical artist or the type of artist whose art is going to imitate their life.
Right.
Okay? Because when he said this, the first thing that I thought about was my run in with him. And I'm about to speak to this too. And this is what I mean about how I'm done like giving out hall passes for all these stories anymore. I ran into him about 20 months ago in December. I was with the Yardies. I was with Matt and Chris. Chris, Matt's brother, and my sister, Audrey, are born a day apart. Audrey was in town from Miami. We all got together and went out. It's like we're gonna celebrate bro birthday and sis birthday. Click, click, click. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
When I got my little sisters with me, I'm on my best behavior. Cause I ain't even gonna lie to you. Even with the whole Boosie thing, oh no, I know how I am. I know how I can be. I'm not on that shit when my sisters are around because I don't want anything that I am or anything who I've been to come around on them. You feel me? So this is my sister's birthday. I'm on my best fucking behavior. All right? Savage whole crew is in there. Like, this is almost 2 years ago. And people change. Men change. I'm not the same man that I was when I was in that club that night. It was a fight night too, and it's one of the more popping places in Atlanta that's known. Okay? People from Savage Camp is coming and dapping Matt and Chris up. They are record producers. They have done work with some of these guys. They have done work with some of the guys that these guys feel like is opposition. A couple guys rolled up to let those guys know that it wasn't even no problem. It's like, yo, we see what you did, such and such. It ain't no problem with us. We know y'all cool. Y'all don't involve in none of that. Whoop, doo, whoop, doo, whoop, doo, whoop, doo, whoop, doo, whoop. Mike, they 50, 60 deep. They throwing money in the sky. I had a homegirl that worked there that knew them too. Now, I'm just going to go down to the scene. I'm pulling out. The homies are staying. Both of my younger sisters are in there with their homies. I'm the guy. I'm pulling out first to make sure they get out. Now, there is a fracas going on. Okay? I'm outside with Sherm. You know Sherm, Mike?
Yeah, I know Sherm.
Savage literally runs into me, Mike. And in the process of running into me, pushes me out the way. Now, he's smaller than me, okay? This is 2 years ago. This happened. Sherm can speak to this. He ran into me and pushed me out the way. His security guard is right behind me arguing with security. The game is to be sold, not to be told. I can't even tell you what that argument was about, but they was feeling some type of way. And so what I'm saying is that when I hear him making this comment, it's like, that's not what I seen from your crew that night, fam. That's not what I seen from what your security officer was talking to the security officer at the door at the same spot that we was at. And that's not what I seen for you. I'm going to tell you exactly why it's happened. I can't even front. I was a little faded. You know why I remember Sherm was outside? Because when he pushed me, I turned around and started walking for him, and Sherm came and grabbed me and was like, don't do it. They too deep. You already know what time it is. He's like, don't do it, Coop. And so when he's saying that, it's like, I'm like, that's the same dude that I couldn't even roll up on face to face as a man because of how they roll. And so what I need him to do is to let his, because that was 2 years ago, men change.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope that in the 2 years' time since we had that run in, that it actually matches up to what he just said on record. Because everything that he was just saying on record, it wasn't like that when I ran into him about 20 months ago. Live. Like live on set. It's like he could literally, like, I want you to understand how guys like this have it. He literally got to push me out of the way. One-on-one, he's not doing that, Mike. So it's like he needs to stop doing stuff like that when he goes out, because I can speak to his behavior late at night in a club when he got his goons with him. I was at the Met Gala with my shooter, on God.
Right? Godfather with the super chat says, I take a picture with Fab, and he take a picture with me and the family. Shout out to Fab. You know
what I'm saying? No. I'm just saying that to say that it's like when he said that, it's like I literally remember you pushing me because y'all was mad about something else. I just happened to be, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time when he did it. You know what I'm saying? Like I came out the club with Sherm to smoke a cigarette at a time when him and some of his people was having an issue. Nigga just straight like bumped into me and then kind of like nudged me out the way. Like, nigga, who the fuck is you? Like, you nobody out here, nigga. And so like when guys is talking about how, well, I never seen Atlanta like this. And people got to stop behaving so violently. I was like, is that the nigga that just pushed me out the way like I was not when they were 60, 70 deep in the club because he know that he could? Yeah, same guy. So his behavior needs to start matching what he just said.
Well, like you said, people change.
Streets is watching. Like, Streets be watching. So I hope that his behavior matches that. Because I'm going to tell you something about me. Oh, I don't have no crew and no clique. I'm infamous out here. Every time I pull up, it's a solo mission because I want people to understand that I'm a man first. Because this Atlanta shit has gotten out of hand. He is right about this. Like, this shit has gotten out of hand where it's almost like I don't like going out, Mike, just because I'm the type of dude that like to pull solo missions, and you can't even pull solo missions no more because it'll get you fucking killed because these niggas is so amped, they so aggy, you're not allowed to be a man. These niggas is almost disrespectful to the point it's like we 20, 30 deep in here, we're gonna step on your shoes, we're gonna push you out the way. What the fuck you gonna do, nigga? And it's like, so niggas need to stop behaving like that. He influences some of that thought. I was at the Met Gala with my shooter, on God.
Jay Short with the super chat says Kendrick's album came and went. Drake's too. Even Cole's album faded quicker than usual. Are there any? I'm sorry. Are we in a new era? It's a good question. Probably so, to a certain degree. I want to get to some of these other super chats, and I'm gonna say what I got to say. Godfather with the super chat says, yeah, he said he was with his family in DR and he's seen Fab. I think I got that super chat. And oh yeah, LP with the super chat says, Mike, don't be outside. He ain't got no. Mike, don't be outside. He ain't got no stories. Mike be chilling, man. Jay
No, there's
Short with the
nothing wrong
suit.
with that, Mike. There is nothing wrong. I want you to understand that instance. Like, I thought it was so ironic. That was one of the last times that I was outside in a place like that. Like the spot that I was at that night, I don't even go places like that anymore. That's what I mean. Is like I'm different now. Even from 2 years ago when that happened, it's like, and really even when I was going that night, that was more about sis and about bro than even about me. But had a good ass time that night. And to be honest with you, ain't even really tripping off the whole savage thing. I'm just using that as an example to let you know how it rolls. Like think about it. And this is 2 years ago before we even rolling. He literally just kind of brushed by me like a nobody. Like it's like, yeah. Because here's the thing about it: when you black and you down here, it's like, oh, you know what time it is, and know not to fuck with certain niggas and who they are and what type of money they got and how deep they roll. And so when he said that, I was thinking like to myself, it's like, damn, well, are you going to start showing up solo now?
Jay Short says, David Duke got a shotgun, so why you mad that I got one? Scarface. Um, Deontay Smith says Rico is going to change how these rappers move. Um, Very interesting. What I was going to say, too, though, is what I would have liked to have heard as well, as opposed to just putting it on entertainment, because we've heard that for years and years. Like, I remember when Dr. Dre said that in the show, and the movie, the show, that is.
Mm-hmm. It's just
And I
entertainment.
think I'm just gonna be honest, man. I get it, but it's a bit of a cop out when it comes to the responsibility of what you're saying out of your mouth, and you're saying what you're saying out of your mouth in first person, and in every rap we always talk about keeping it real. People don't say the words keeping it real like they used to, but they're still implying that they are real nigga, they this, that, and the third. So the thing is, man, I think that I would have liked to have heard 21 just be like, look, I know I've said some things in my lyrics in the past that could have possibly attributed to certain behaviors. I'm working on that. I'm going to change that. And to some degree, denounce some of the content that was in the previous stuff. If you're going to take this stance, but it's certain things where it's like if you carry a certain connotation and content in your material, when you go out there and tell people to put the guns down, people aren't going to take that seriously. That's all I'm saying. And I agree with him, like you said, he's right, but it might not be coming from the right person, but it could come from the right person if that person acknowledges
I
what
think,
they have said in their lyrics before. You
I
know.
think, see, and this is what I mean. So people are missing what I'm saying. I'm bringing up this instance that happened almost 2 years ago in hopes that the man that just made these statements is different. I keep auditing the conversation. See, people always take away what they want to take away. They're not listening to the part where they're saying, oh, well, I'm different than I was 2 years ago in those circumstances. And so I hope he's different too. I think people are taking something away from there. I'm just giving you an example about the problematic nature of it and on a personal level about why I hope it is alleviated. Because personally, 2 years ago, I saw different. But here's also what I know: men change. He's about 10 years younger than us, Mike.
Probably more. Yeah.
Probably more, maybe 12 years. No, those changes happen fast, like 25 to 35. Like,
Yeah.
and
And it
so
sounds like the way he's talking, he's changed. You know what I'm saying?
no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that all I have to go off of is what I saw 2 years ago. But I keep prefacing that by saying not to ag on the situation, but to say it's like, well, no, well, situations like that need to stop occurring where all of that, you get what I'm saying? Is like, well, if you're going to say that, situations like that somebody like me that's been outside can speak to, well, there needs to not be your name attached to that. You feel me? Because that's part of the problem where the contradiction comes in, where people really can excoriate you and it be valid. It's okay for him to say this right now, but it's like, well,
No, you got to do some acknowledging though first. You know what I'm saying?
what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that if you're going to say this on live and then handle matters out in the street the same way that you handled me a couple years ago, then that's fake. You feel me?
Well, I think the other thing is what I didn't really love from the live is he put out the notion that you can't have a successful rap career without, rapping in that way and rapping about those things. Now, I'm not the biggest Lil Yachty fan out there, and Lil Yachty went to my high school, Pebblebrook, shout out. But Yachty said something that I think was, very potent. He said the easiest thing in rap to be is hard. And Yachty went the other route, and he's been able to have a career. He don't be talking about all that stuff like that. And so, even if you don't want to go that route, I mean, there's plenty of MCs who've been able to make a career by rapping about positive shit. If that's where you're
Mhm.
at, that's where you're at. The sauce is in the sonics. You know what I mean? If you can make
Yeah.
something that sounds good, you don't have to rap about all this stuff that you clearly have acknowledged is terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you don't
but what
have to do that. But I think in that live, he made it sound like, well, what do you want me to do? Want me to be in the streets and not come up and this and that? And it's like, no, you don't have to rap like that to get on. Or do you? I don't know. Who told
I
you you
don't know.
do?
Well, hey, Mike, can I actually tell you something? And you can help me with this too. We were artists down here at the same time. Well, a lot of the stuff that I was outside doing, it never made its way on the record because I never aspired to be the type of MC that wanted to disseminate certain information at large to make it seem like that the things that I was doing was okay. And so I chose to speak about different subject matter. And you might hear me sprinkle some of that in. Like that was a conscious effort by me. It's like, well, and also too, Mike, and to be honest, like all this Rico shit that's going on. Like I just come from a certain place and a certain family and certain people. It's like, oh, you saying stuff on record. It's like, oh, well, we don't do that over here. We're going to fuck you up. And so we don't talk a certain type of way on both sides of my family just about our history. You feel what I'm saying? And so a lot of these dudes that talk the way that they do on record, I was always like, well, what's your history really look like? Because it's like my family's let it be known it's not okay for me to talk on
Well,
record
does the
about it.
industry let young guys know that, to blow up, this is what you got to rap about. This is what you got to be. Is that what the conversation is when you go into these? I don't even want to say
I
record
mean,
labels because he didn't walk right into a record label. He kind of got his independent buzz with Savage Mode,
I
and
mean,
I mean, well, or whoever you talked to initially. Does it take that for people to believe in you? You gotta, talk that type of stuff.
no, I think it just the talk has to be special. And so, like, one of the things that I always say about reasonable doubt is that no, the hustler ethos and rhetoric is really strong, but the overall talk and perspective of it is really, really special. Like the talk is special. It's a guy that is hustling, but he hates that he's hustling almost. And it's
Right.
like, I remember that. So, like, I tell you what, like, I'm a Nas fan. The start to my second album that was getting me my buzz more than like the shit that I put out. I literally remember how I started the song off. Some of the first bars were that I hate that I'm hustling. It's not the lust of sin or the custom rims, but the world is not enough publishing. That's how I talked about my hustling. You feel what I'm saying? It's like even when I talk about my hustling, it's like, oh no, I'm not doing this shit like to put on a chain or you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, I'm like doing this to build something, but I would like frame it really, really, really subtle. But that's because I was funny because the people that I came up with and moved around is like, don't be talking that shit on record.
Well,
Like you
there's a
be
way to talk about the violence around you as opposed to, I don't want to say glorifying it, but yeah, glorifying it. I mean, I know that Savage ain't as skilled as a young Nas was, but an example of that would be Memory Lane.
but he's
To
not a
talk
hustler
about
on
what
memory
you
lane. He's talking about the hustlers on memory lane.
Yeah, he's talking about what he's seen because that was one of the things that Savage said. He was like, "I thought artists were supposed to talk about what they saw around them and their upbringing and this and that." Yeah, but we're at a point now. I mean, his most recent verse is what on the Drake record where I think I got that verse here. Hold on. Nah, that's one of the older ones. I don't
What?
even want to
Been
go
around the
there.
block twice.
Yeah, spin around the block twice. Yeah,
Okay, so
and
even with
nowhere
that,
to
okay,
like
so
it's nowhere
somebody
to
will tell you.
park. You
So
know
this
what
is
I'm
what I
saying?
mean about
And
how
if I
this is
was
how
Will
deep
Smith,
language
I would have
goes.
smacked him
Hold
with
on.
the stick. Like he
So
didn't. Yeah,
spin around the block. So hold on. So spin around the block is also is a gangster euphemism, but it's also a player euphemism.
yeah.
Like a chick will be talking to you and she asks you, be like, "So you the type of nigga that spin around the block, cool?" It's like, huh, what? It's like, what you know, you like, you want to come try this, try that, or you know what you want. Like, you the type of nigga to spin around the block. So even the females have taken the gangster euphemism and turned it into a, like, is you a player or not a player? Like, to be or not to be, that is a question. You know what I mean? Since we've been talking Shakespeare and Hamlet and shit today, to be or not to be, you know what I mean? Do you spin the block or do you not? And how do you spin the block? Do you spin the block with your Glock, or do you spin the block to get your spot? Do you spin the block for a thought? I will not eat green eggs and ham. You feel what I'm saying? And so the verbiage and the usage of the words gets flipped and turned. So when he's saying spin the block, well, it's turned to things that girls pull up on guys and be like, oh, nigga, you just trying to spin the block. As in, like, you know, pull up and grab whatever you can grab.
So what about if I was Will Smith, I would have slapped him with the stick.
I really can't justify that. Let's talk about spin the
block. What
about
this chopper came with a compressor? This Glock 45 came with a switcher.
That's very direct. I can't defend that. That's very direct. And I can't defend that. I'm just defending what I can defend.
Huh. You know. Oh, Big Stepper. He came in the rolls, but he left in a stretcher. Let my brother drive while I shoot. Team effort.
I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I feel that statement had more to do with all the shit that's pending down here.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I do think that it's real.
I mean, if you know, I mean, let's just keep it real. And I just kind of want to leave it right here. Well, if you're 21 Savage and you're Lil Baby, and you're these producers that have collaborated with them and been around them and done all this stuff with them, you can't feel comfortable right now. You can't feel comfortable. You feel what I'm saying?
Well, I also think on top of that,
no, forget the music.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
But about the music, it's like you shouldn't feel comfortable right now. And so, and I guarantee you this, he's privy to information that we're not privy to. And so this could be political. The DA that came out and said we about to hand out some more RICOs.
Yeah, this ain't a conversation for YouTube. But I thought it was more so.
That's what I'm saying. We can stop right there.
I thought it was more so along the lines of, what's going on with the ordinances and in the clubs in Atlanta, the violence ordinances where people are possibly getting shut down.
Okay, so listen to what he said when he's like, well, he's never seen Atlanta like this. It's like, well, now think about how the politicians and the officials and the people responsible for change feel about it. Because if you think that they're not seeing the Atlanta that you're seeing, well, y'all are actually seeing the same thing, which is why a lot of this is happening. Because one thing that he said that was very right and very true, and this is what I mean, is like, no, there's space and room for people to change. He's right. Atlanta's never been like this before, ever. And quite frankly, this Atlanta, I don't love it. And I'm going to try my best to leave it as soon as my daughter gets out of here, because it's not the place that I love and that I came up in. And so he's right in a lot of ways. That's why it's like, no, the shit that he's kicking is solid as long as it's real, and he's going to back it up in his life.
Well, hopefully things can be, rectified. And again, I also think that what's going on with the nuisance ordinances are going to unfairly affect black businesses, and hopefully those things don't take an effect. I just think hopefully everything gets cleared up violence wise, and people do put the guns down. People be safe out there, and people are able to keep their businesses. And when folks go out, just go out, have a good time, kick it. Everybody,
right.
You know what I'm saying, come home and have stories to tell. That's it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, well, when I bought my sister out that night, it's like, well, I wasn't expecting 50 of y'all niggas to throw up and show money in the sky. And like, you feel me? But it's like, but you did, but I'm cool. But then it's like, let a nigga run into you. It's like, oh, well, you're not cool then. It's like, well, then it was never cool to begin with. And it's like, I just want to, it just got to match. It just need to match up. And so I'm not saying that to excoriate him. Like this story about Savage, I'm not saying it to talk down on him. It was really like a brief moment in time. I'm saying it just to say, it's like, well, Atlanta's not the same. Yeah. It does need to match up. But also, too, and I mean this like sincerely, fam, if you think the music ain't got nothing to do with this, you're playing yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you think your music has nothing to do with this, you are playing yourself. Music is one of the number one influencers in any environment, specifically the inner city environment. And so the
Yo,
shit that you're talking is affecting it.
people weren't out there throwing hands after Southern Playalistic was getting played in the club.
Never.
T
Or
Nitty,
Soul Food or ATLians.
yeah,
Like no
cell
Dungeon Family
therapy,
album has ever started a riot.
right? T
Or
Nitty with the
Mob.
super
The
chat
closest thing
says,
that a Dungeon, hold on, Mike. The closest thing a Dungeon Family song has got to start in a mob down here is like when Spody Odie Dopalicious first came out.
well, I was gonna say Kryptonite, but yeah, I feel you.
No. Kryptonite up in Mama's Prime Time. Hold on, that was the thing.
But
We used
people
to
were
go to
having
Mama's
fun.
Prime Time
Yeah,
because they did the video at Prime Time. It's like, oh, we going to Prime Time. We might see Big Boy and Killer Mike or C-Bone. It's East Side. Like, what up?
yeah.
Like, let's go.
T
Yeah.
Nitty with
But
the
it
super
wasn't
chat
never like on some
says,
sucker shit. Mike, you want to know some real shit? I used to
Go
run
ahead.
into some real gangsters at Prime Time all the time back in the day, and nothing ever went down like that. Like some real G's, Mike, like on some other shit. Like be pulling up like in the parking lot of Prime Time 4 o'clock in the morning, like with like the merchandise and like the jewels and like whatever, like whatever, like what you want. What you
man,
want?
it's 9 o'clock. We got to get off, man.
He's
T Nitty with the
here
super
forever.
chat says,
He lived here.
Coop 21 was mad. You said that he didn't have literary tools.
That's funny.
LP with the super chat says, how these rappers supposed to relax with Coop testing them at church and the Super Bowl? LOL. This is Cooper Valley's fault.
No, hold on.
Can't even
The
pray
church
in
thing-
peace.
Hold on. The church thing, I never even seen him in the church. The pastor actually said something the next service about leaving people alone when they're here because there were a couple of interactions that went down that were less than subpar when people came up to him.
Yo, let's get to our sponsor.
That was after
again.
the airport run-in that I had with him. And so for me, I was like, and this is what I mean about you got to be careful about how you treat people. When the church thing happened, well, I'm about 6 to 8 months removed from the airport thing, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's that nigga.
Lord. Let's get to our sponsor and let's get up out of here, man.
Yeah.
So yes, if you weren't here earlier, man, Relax and Relief CBD promo codes A2HH, get 10% off. Tell them we sent you, and get your chill and relax on.
No, I'm gonna speak. You're a businessman, Mike. You know what I mean, and so am I. So you can speak to the promo code. I just want to speak to the mental health awareness of it all. I just want us to start getting more therapeutic with how we're dealing with our issues. I don't care if you need to work out. I don't care if you need to pull up on YouTube about 3 to 4 hours a week, 2 days a week, and let all the shit out your system like I do. Or if maybe you just need some CBD to help with your anxiety. But, Relax and Relief is a good option if you don't have a podcast like I do to kind of let your steam off, or if you're not a writer like I am. Like I have a lot of release points, And so the CBD is really at the end of the day a release point to help people. Like I mean this. This is like, I know it's like they're our sponsor, but it's like, no, I know Linux. I know what CBD is and what CBD does. I know how it affects my life. I mean, there are some more personal matters with the CBD that I'm delving into that I don't want to share, but yeah, it's a part of my life. So
I'm looking forward to the music on Friday too, man. So
I'm looking forward to Linux getting me this CBD that he promised me 2 weeks ago. You tell him to drop it in the bag since we sponsoring the product. You tell him to drop it in the bag since we sponsoring the product.
There it is. We're going to holler at y'all. We got High Gravity Hip Hop TV in the building. Shout out to them. And we're going to see y'all Friday. Great stuff.
Cheat codes, drill mat.